It's September 9th, 2010, and the harvest for La Rochelle has begun. Got our first fruit in today. This is Old Martini clone Pinot Noir for our sparkling wine and for rosé. As you can see, we're getting the press pan put in the right position. We're going to press off all this Pinot whole cluster, which means it's just going to be dumped into the press, and the light free run will be used for the sparkling wine, and then varying degrees of more highly pressed wine will be used for the rosé component. We're going to attempt to get 10 bins of fruit with roughly 4.6 tons into one 5-ton press. Whole cluster. Fruit's being dumped into the hopper of the press. First of 10 bins into the hopper. Inside of the 5-ton press was the first load of grapes. So this is a pneumatic press. It's a sort of a big bag that gets inflated and squeezes the juice, squeezes the grapes, and juice runs out into the drain pan that's underneath, and you can dial in the amount of pressure you want, and pressures will differ depending upon variety and how much tannin you want, how much color you want, what kind of per gallon yield you're looking for. The fruit that we're bringing in today was picked, I'm going to guess, somewhere between 20.5 and 21 bricks. Reason being, we're getting fruit that's not as ripe as we'd have for a regular still wine, is that it will undergo a secondary fermentation for sparkling wine, so you want to maintain acidity and lower sugar levels before you start adding dosage and various other things on your second fermentation go around. Tom Stutz, our winemaker, digging into the fruit, making sure we can get all 10 bins in here, eschewing the more sanitary shovel or the less sanitary hand method. 3 bins in, 7 more to go. What do you think, audience? quality of the fruit looks really terrific. Very clean pick, no leaves. Fruit looks very nice. Now we've got 8 of the 10 bins in. I'm going to roll the press over just to redistribute fruit. You can see the free run already coming down to the pan here. This is just from the pressure of the fruit. This is what will go into the sparkling wine.
Here it is.
Well, first lot of fruit is in the press. We did get all 10 bins in with a lot of shovel work by Tomas. We're anticipating getting somewhere in the neighborhood of 720 gallons or so of juice, which will go into our sparkling wine and rosé. See free run running off here. It's not going to be particularly sweet juice. As I mentioned before, sugar levels are lower than what you would harvest at for regular still wine. But this is sparkling wine. So the press will turn a few times, and the juice will be pumped off into a 750-gallon tank, or 2 tanks that are smaller that combine for that same gallonage. All right, Tom, so we're in the first press cycle here on this Pinot Noir that we're doing for the sparkling wine and the rosé. When do you know you've pressed enough, or what are you looking for between press cycles?
Well, in a grape you have an outer area just below the skin that's very soft and very sweet. Sweeter, higher acid, lower pH than when you get into the pulp. So what you really want to do is press this until you've got all the juice out of the real sweet area and separate that, and then when you get into the pulpy area, press that separately for the rosé. What happens is as you press it, as you go along, every time you rotate it, you get a little bit of a pH rise. And historically what I've seen, you get about a 0.1 pH, so it goes from like 2.9 to 3 to 3.1, 3.2. But somewhere along the line there, all of a sudden the pH increase will double, and so we get a 0.2 rise, and that's when you really want to cut it off. You can also do it by color, by taste. We're trying to avoid any real tannin pickup on the champagne stock. The color we've got, which I know you've already seen, it looks pretty dark right now. Most of that will go away. We splash it into the tank where it's going to ferment, so it gets pretty well oxidized, and most of that color will drop out. This looks a little redder than last year, though, so we may end up with a slightly pinky material.
Right. The juice is running out a little bit more extended rate, coming down more quickly, pumping at about, pressing off at about 3 pounds per square inch. At this point. A lot of nice grapey flavor, but again, not particularly sweet.